Man of Steel is directed by Zack Snyder, and it's the new tale, or should I say new take, on Superman. And when I say it's a new tale or take of Superman, it's really a complete different set of rules for Superman. Oh boy, we're going to have some fun talking about this new series of movies. So I'm reviewing this for the sake of knowing that it's not on my channel. I wanted to kind of get my thoughts out there, tell you what my opinions are of Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Suicide Squad. I have already reviewed Wonder Woman, so I felt that it would be kind of nice to revisit this, talk about it, all setting up to Justice League. Talking about Man of Steel, I just kind of realized Man of Steel is never really referenced in this movie. No one ever calls him Man of Steel. They just say, is that what you just said? Yeah. Yeah, we're calling him Superman, by the way. So the plot of this movie starts on Krypton, where Jor-El has a first natural birth in centuries. On top of that, Krypton's core is about to die among another problem of General Zod uprising a coup to overthrow the council. Trust me, a lot happens in just the first 20 minutes of this film. But baby Kal-El is born and entrusted with the Codex that carries the blueprint of the race of Kryptonians in his DNA, and he is sent off to Earth, and Zod and his band of followers are exiled into the Phantom Zone, only later on, of course, to find Kal-El and be like, yeah, you got something I want, buddy. And this leads to heavy exposition scenes, taking a lot away from the characters we actually really wanted to get to know in this adaptation, this new tale. And there's quick pacing that leaves one confused at how much time has passed. And a lot of, you're the savior to this world, but don't show your powers until it's time yet. And oh, by the way, I'm General Zod, and I've been exiled for some years. It's time to kill your planet because it's the only one I found habitable. And after all that, I can say I don't mind the complex advice that this movie gives out, nor the story that is kind of a convenient when it's time to focus on it. It's the pacing of this film, not giving us enough time with the characters. This movie is nearly 2.5 hours long, and yet we barely know enough with Jonathan Kent, Lois Lane, and even Superman himself. But I would like to say, for the record, and all things considered, I have been a Superman fan all of my life. I love this character. I never saw him as overpowered, especially in the comics. Animated TV shows and movies, he's lost, gained, and even limited half of his powers into any threat. It's his principles, morals, and ideology that I've always looked up to. Dean Cain's Superman, Christopher Reeves, Brendan Routh's, George Reeves, all of them, even the ones I haven't mentioned, have held up to the idea of Superman. And here we are at Henry Cavill, who embodies Superman extremely well. But the downside to this movie is that you don't get much of what Superman stands for in this adaptation. He's just starting out, and you do get some charms from this movie.
Put our cards on the table here, General.
You're scared of me because you can't control me. You don't, and you never will. But that doesn't mean I'm your enemy.
It does, okay, so it does show how much of a stand-up guy he is. Boy Scout, doing the right thing type of guy. But they don't do a whole lot developing him. Now, look, reviewing this, I'm going to be as honest I can with you. I am actually terrified of my own opinion compared to the others. I have heard over the last 5 or 6 years, I think, of the opinions of this movie, BVS, which was literally 1.5 years ago, and Suicide Squad, which was last year, and all of them are trashing the hell out of these movies. And I came out of these films with mixed emotions, but now with a more reformed, solid opinion. That may differ with you. And I may love one of these movies that you so passionately hate. Call me weird, stupid, and even crazy, but I'm gonna get this out of the way now. I loved Man of Steel, and I own it on Blu-ray. The thing is, these sets of movies, I kind of have a tradition with myself to get them on Blu-ray no matter the quality. So even if it was like a hate it No, heaven forbid if there's a hate it. More like guilty pleasure, like it or love it. They're all going to be on Blu-ray. This is really not a rating system. It's just personal preference. But usually it's the stories that to these films that I have a problem with. But with Man of Steel here, I actually have the problem with pacing. And the story is a lot better than most give it credit for. And I mostly see criticisms heavily rely on Superman allowing Metropolis to be leveled. And only to a degree would I agree to that, considering Zod leveled the city first, and then Superman trying to end Zod's reign of terror by, bringing his people back. Adding to the destruction, I'd say, is really the problem here. Neither Superman nor Zod can be the focus point alone to that criticism. It's the story itself that actually is really good, but it is bogged down by pacing issues and some lackluster character development. The action is really good, and especially the one in Smallville. Oh my god, I can rewatch that so many times and be like, this is good quality action with a Superman film. The finale, where Metropolis gets demolished, is a good segment, but you're probably going to get hung up on the details of how much Superman, the hero for the world, and where he thinks he's helping, he really isn't. No one started off perfect, and Superman is no exception to this film. If you want to split hairs, Superman saves humanity, just not the city a portion of humanity lived in. That's not justification. Doesn't make it any better. In the end, I walked away loving Man of Steel, as I said. A few gripes of pacing, flashbacks that are thrown in for the sake of developing Clark, but they come about rather too frequently. A story I think could have been really good if they didn't try to rush it. But from here, as I already gave my rating and as I already gave out my opinion, we're gonna get into Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, and that's gonna be a doozy of a review. Stay tuned, my friends. It's coming out tomorrow, but I would like to thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this video, please subscribe, and I'm gonna get you more videos in the future.